青や強がって飛び乗って風に流って青空昨日を越えろ
Hello everybody, welcome back to Talking Mons, our Digimon Adventure 2020 recap podcast. My name is JD and I am joined as always by my two good friends Jeanette and Gary.
Hello.
Hey.
And we're going back to kind of our normal formula. We're only talking about this time because we've been doubling up for the last couple months just because of scheduling. But I wasn't sure if this was going to be the last episode of the year. Apparently there's another one coming next week. I don't know how many more we're getting, if they're going to be taking a break for the holiday or whatnot. But we are here to talk about episode 27, titled To the New Continent. And there is a new continent, isn't it? Kind of. There's a beach of the new continent there. Continuing off of last week's episode, all the children are back together again, and it's a great big party and whatnot. And they are setting sail towards the eponymous new continent.
They're not setting sail. They're just riding along the back of the turtle.
Well, they're setting sail on the turtle. Man, that turtle gets a raw deal, and we'll get more into the turtle and his friends in a minute. But yeah, so I think just overall, I like this episode just because it has a really good fight scene with Groundramon in the second half of this. But what did you guys think about this one?
I liked it better than the last one. I actually was really into this one, but my husband didn't like it very much. He said it was at least better than last week, though. I just don't think I'm okay with it, but it's very much feels like a mix between a Sentai show and a Digimon show, like with the Monster of the Week format and a fight every week, and I just don't think he digs that format.
I mean, that's how the old show was.
Yeah.
The old show literally was a Monster of the Week for a good portion of it.
Yeah.
But no, I get that it's not like everybody's thing.
I think he wants more character development.
Yeah, me too.
Me three.
I mean, we do get a little bit in here, but I'll talk about that. Gary, what did you think about this one?
I feel like it's half filler, but half kind of important, especially with the cliffhanger. But I feel like we didn't get any new information or new stake. It's sort of the same with like mysterious monster attacking the turtle in the first half, or mysterious happening attacking the turtle in the first half.
Yeah,
and then they left. Sorry, Sid?
They sure talk about moving forward a lot.
Yeah.
Remember, guys, we got to move forward. We can't look back.
No, always be looking to the future.
Exactly.
No, I get what you mean. I mean, as much as I really love the giant fight with everyone fighting Groundramon, it doesn't exactly move the story forward. I mean, they get to this new land and they come to this beach. It's full of Tortamon, which my dumb nerd brain immediately knew from those yellow spikes that they were Tortamon. But yeah, the Groundramon comes out, and it's kind of sad watching all the Tortamon run away because this Groundramon just starts grabbing them and eating them, which we kind of got established the last episode of like the monsters eating each other to gain more power, which I think is kind of terrifying when you think about it. But also that's how nature works.
Yeah, but it was still really horrifying. Like it was gobbling them up by the mouthful.
No, it was sad. He has like 10 of them in his mouth, and he just like crunches them, and they all just evaporate.
It's not like implied like this episode where it's underwater.
No, this one they literally show Groundramon eating a bunch of Tortamon. He just straight up does that. But yeah, this whole fight doesn't really move the story forward, like the grand overall plot. It's basically just kind of establishing like, okay, we're on this new continent, and like clearly the Digimon who reside here are at a higher power level than what we've experienced before. So in that sense, it gets moved forward. But then the rest of it is just a big fight with a dragon.
And then even with the what's that knight? What's the name of that knight? I can never remember
Skull
the name.
Knightmon.
Yeah, Skull Knightmon's return doesn't. I mean, it's a big thing, but it kind of doesn't feel like it drives the story any further. I mean, it's a cliffhanger, so I guess it.
I
works
kind
that
of
way.
disagree with that. So you kind of see in the preview for the next episode, you see the dark crystal that Skull Knightmon is carrying around. So I feel like Skull Knightmon is gonna be like a catalyst for just kind of fucking with the kids and like coming in and like powering up other monsters to fight them, kind of like how he did with Devimon. And I assume that he's gonna come back and like he did with Devimon, he's gonna resurrect Groundramon, and then Groundramon's gonna evolve again. That's kind of where I see that going. So having Skull Knightmon show up at the end of this episode and like basically present himself like, "Hey, I'm here again." I do think that kind of adds to the story in the sense they're like, okay, he's still lurking around. He's still going to be a presence in the story.
Like it adds to it. It's a hold up. This next episode, I'm sure next episode will have a lot.
Oh,
more.
I mean, yeah, Skull Knightmon coming in and then Patamon finally evolving on his own into Angemon was a great way to just like give you a nice cliffhanger ending, because that really had me interested. Like, okay, now we get Angemon like fully aware of his power versus Skull Knightmon, who was like trying to, basically turn him evil about 10 episodes ago. So I'm really interested to see what those two do with each other.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised that happened this quickly. I know it feels like many episodes ago, but time-wise within the story, it was fairly short.
Yeah, the last time we saw Skull Knightmon was about 3 episodes ago. There was those 2 filler episodes before last time we seen him.
Even with Angelmon.
I like the tension between TK and Dark Skull Knightmon or whatever it's called. Yeah, they're clearly supposed to be like opposites to each other or like rivals to each other or something, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, Skull Knightmon is like pretty much the current embodiment of evil, and TK and Angemon have the power of Christ on their side.
Yep.
I was expecting somewhat more of a longer journey where you have to discover more about Holy Digimon before Patamon can evolve again.
Well, I don't think that puzzle is completely solved yet, because when they said Holy Digimon, I know Digimon is itself a plural. Because obviously we still haven't gotten Angelwomon. I don't think Patamon or even Gatomon are the full extent of the Holy Digimon. I think there's going to be like a whole like pantheon of holy Digimon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
but like in just term of just TK and Patamon as like a pair, like Digidestined pair. I was expecting, I guess, it's just from the previous series, just that there would be more of a thing, more of a mystery. The mystery is still there in the overall pantheon of the Holy Digimon, but like themselves have a little longer, like a discovery arc.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm wondering if that might be sussed out a little more in the next episode, because like the rest of the team has had the ability to digivolve on their own for ages now, so they're all used to it. But this is the first time Patamon has gone into Angemon like normally. So I'm wondering if like maybe Angemon isn't gonna like fully know the extent of his power yet. So I am curious to see like what direction they kind of take that. But you could also be right there, Gary.
One thing I did notice was in the preview, they say the children get split up again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just can't keep these kids together, man.
One episode.
It's like herding cats.
Yeah. And the thing is, the series is the strongest when they're all together, so it's kind of a bummer.
I hope.
I love part of the reason I love this big fight scene with Groundramon is again what I feel like really works with the series has done really well is having all of the monsters like working together during a fight. And I especially love, and this is kind of what I was hinting about character development, is I love how take charge Ty was in this episode.
Yes.
Which he really like leadered up and he was like just calling out the battle plan for what everyone needs to do. And you know, I just thought that was a really good character moment for him, really kind of like, you know, showing off his attribute. And it also like was interesting to show that I think Metal Greymon getting his railgun arm is a lot more strenuous than Where Garurumon getting a jetpack because he doesn't really whip that out too much, and when he does, it's OP as shit.
Yes.
But I especially loved him just ramming that railgun down.
It was so brutal, but so good.
It's like he rams that railgun into his mouth and starts firing down his throat, but that's not getting it. So he uses the railgun to pry open his mouth like it's a fucking crab claw and just has everyone else shoot their laser beams into his mouth before he turns into a mess of tumors and explodes.
See, I don't know if Digimon wants to be like a children's show or just a really fucked up, edgy anime show. And it like kind of has the best of both worlds, and I appreciate that.
See,
like,
what I feel like a lot of anime these days is like I feel like kids are way more accepting of weird shit. I mean, this is the generation that plays Five Nights at Freddy's, so they're way more disaffected than we were as kids.
It's on the verge of shonen anime.
Oh, it is very much a shonen anime.
And I wouldn't actually agree with your sentiment there. With I feel like it's always been this way, but since this is the first time we're watching this unaltered, unaltered, not edited for American audience, and also I have seen other children's anime when I was little that's more or less on the scale that was never brought into the US that
Sailor
were
Man.
more on the scale of kind of like this. Quality differs, of course, but kind of similar fight scene, like brutality.
So I will say I have rewatched the first two seasons in Japanese. Like that's the only way I'll go back and watch them anymore. Just because the American dub is just so hokey. It's like I don't know, I can't do it anymore. But I will say that while yes, the American version is more jokey and full of puns, tonally wise, it's pretty close to the Japanese version. So like the whole thing with Myotismon like taking over and stuff, like that's just as like it's not darker in the Japanese version than it is in the American version. But even just like comparing what I remember of watching the Japanese version of the first season, comparing it to this, I would definitely say this is going in a darker direction. I mean, just from the nature of everything that went on with Devimon and the imagery they used there, to actually showing the Digimon like tearing each other apart and eating each other to take their power. That's definitely a bit of a step up from the 90s show, for sure.
And I think that's kind of what I was getting at. This is definitely a much edgier than the original was. If I may be so bold.
Yeah, but like I said, I think kids these days. I think they're more accepting of more mature themes. So I think you can kind of get away with that. And as an adult watching this, I can get a little more on board with that because that more mature themes is, what I'm used to in my programming. So having, something I enjoyed from my childhood kind of grow up a little bit, it makes the viewing experience a little easier on me, I guess.
See, I at this point have watched so much effed up anime that I guess it's kind of a drop in the bucket for me.
It's just a Tuesday.
Yep.
Or I guess a Sunday whenever this airs, or when the episodes air.
But I also get a kicked out of the fucked up shit. So
yeah, you need some fucked up shit in your life sometimes.
Yeah, and I really like, as I said, I really like the intensity and just I like the fact that the series doesn't really hold back. They just go for the full out brutality of the Digimon world.
And I like that it still manages to counterbalance the cute kid stuff, because like even the beginning of this episode when they come across the sorry, I can't talk today.
Oh, you're fine.
They come across the dark lightning storm, and they have to abandon Turtle. That whole sequence of like them like escaping on their Digimon, it is still kind of fun, mostly because of Gomamon being Gomamon, and Mimi crying because she hates heights or something. So it's like this very serious situation, but it still manages to put a little bit of lightness and fun into it.
So
But again, yeah. I will say, this episode also continues a tradition. I'm pretty sure Leomon's dead now.
Yeah.
No, we haven't seen it on screen, so
he fell into a typhoon in the ocean and was dragged down with the giant turtle. I'm assuming he's dead.
Leomon's
death
is
a typical Thursday.
Leomon's death is always more dramatic.
Dude, every time Leomon shows up, I'm just counting down until he dies. It's not that I want it to happen, I'm just expecting it at this point.
What if this is the series that it doesn't happen?
If they want to buck tradition and not kill Leomon, I'm all down for it. I like Leomon. I think he's a cool character, and I don't want him to die. It's just he's died twice before.
What if what if across all the series it's just the same Leomon? He just keeps getting reincarnated and dying again and reincarnated and dying again.
He just as an aside, one of these episodes, like, oh, by the way, you're in a reboot world. I've seen you kids before, but you were a little you were a little different. And then I was with this really depressed girl with a pan puppet. It was all very weird. Leomon's just done with your shit. I want Leomon to evolve if he comes back. I want him to become Bancho Leomon, so he gets this like weird school toughs outfit.
Leomon has a bunch of really cool evolutions that he could go for.
He does. He can turn into like a saber-toothed tiger, or the dude with I think he gets a baseball bat or something, depending on his final. But either of that, I'm cool. Let's do it. But yeah, the fight scene is really good in this. I think everyone really works well together. Honestly, I think I thoroughly enjoyed this one. I think we said it earlier. This is definitely a step up from last week. Not that I thought last week was terrible, but it just didn't have a lot going on.
Yeah.
It even was a step up animation wise. Like you could tell.
Yeah. It wasn't as much recycled animation this week. And they even forego mostly doing evolution sequences because we got more fight to cram in here.
Yeah, I liked how they did the evolution sequences in this episode where they just kind of went to the ball. They came out, and except for Patamon, but Patamon was kind of the big deal, and I thought that made it flow much better.
Yeah, and I even liked how, I don't know if it's always been like this or if I just noticed it now, But I liked how when everyone started going to their ultimate stage, I like how they like cut to Metal Greymon and where Garumon's sequences like towards the tail end of that sequence, and then they kind of like rush towards the screen like they're like jumping out of their evolution ball to go continue the fight. But also I think Patamon's like evolution was really kind of was really interesting because we kind of seen in these new sequences like the little ones kind of growing into their champion stage. Like the wireframe starts growing around them and they morph into the champion stage. I like that we kind of got like an outside view of that with Patamon, because you see him like jump into the sky, he starts glowing, but you see the Angemon wings just grow out of his back.
Yeah,
so he's just,
that was unexpected. I like it.
Yeah, he's a tiny little hamster with angel wings instead of just and on top of bat wings. He's a fat little potato, and I love him. But
I would say I would die for him, but the last time I said I would die for Digimon, it died. So obviously,
you're killing everybody off.
Yeah.
Quick kill. Nah, it's fine. Is there anything else you guys wanted to mention about this episode? I think I've gotten all my nerd out for today.
It's actually something I forgot to mention in the last episode that happened in this episode.
Oh, yeah?
A new ending.
Oh, yeah! Yeah!
I
love this new ending.
I like it. I was thinking it's about time we get a new ending theme, but it's very different, and I like all the art. Very cute.
So I like the second ending. I just didn't like the music. I liked all the animation, just not the music. But this one, I love the kind of like jazzy swing music that they use for the ending. I love all like the fall imagery. It's just cute to just see everybody doing all these kind of activities in their sweaters and stuff. And then you get Mibi and Palmon dancing in what I can assume is that fashion district whose name I can't remember at the moment.
Yeah.
Ochuku?
Yeah, there you go. It's like I should remember. I've been there. But yeah, the new ending's really cute.
I really liked it.
I'm gonna finally switch the ending theme on the podcast to the new jazzy ending because I like it. Just wasn't into dubstep in the last one, or like weird J-pop dubstep.
It was
too fast paced for an ending theme.
It had that really janky beat. That's what really got me with the last.
It's like I for the last ending, I was really with it until it does that weird dubstep drop towards the end of the song. Like that's what, like, okay, that no, I can't do it with that. The rest of it was fine. It's like you just ruined it right at the end. But I'm not in music production, so what do I know?
I feel like you still would have done a better job of that second ending. That was not appeasing on the ears.
Yeah. But now we got a new one. It's all jazzy and comfy now, so I dig it. Is there anything else you guys want to mention before we wrap up?
No.
No.
Okay. Alrighty, guys, everybody, there is your Digimon recap for this week. Let us know what you thought about this episode on our Facebook, our Twitter, our YouTube, our Discord. All the links for those are going to be in our show notes. And we are on pretty much every streaming platform out there, so you can take us on the go. Thank you all for listening. We should be back next week with episode 28, The Children's Fight for Survival. That's not morbid at all. Should be a fun time. Thanks again, and we'll catch you all next week.
Bye.